What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bree Talks MMA. Oh my gosh, what an exciting weekend of fights. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fights 3 nights in a row, and they were all awesome, and just we got a lot to talk about. So man, I don't even know where to start. But first, let me just remind you to check out Jocko Fuel. This is my jam. This is the energy drink that I choose. If I'm going to choose an energy drink, this is the one I'm going to go with. It's not overly caffeinated. It's got, about 95 milligrams caffeine. So kind of like a cup of coffee. So it's not going to make you all cracked out and crazy like other energy drinks do. Myself, I'm trying to lower my caffeine intake. So drinking things with less caffeine is always good. But yeah, so check out Jocko Fuel. They also have supplements, pre-workout, protein powder, everything you need. Use my code BREEBREE and you will get 10% off. And that supports me and supports the podcast. So I appreciate you. But anyways, yeah. Oh my gosh. So let's start with UFC because I think that's probably what most people want to hear about. So UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana is the main event. Holy crap. What a card. Just top to bottom, great fights. UFC Canada is awesome. I was really impressed. I really was. But first fight of the night, early prelims, Belbita versus Oliveira. So Belbita ended up winning that fight via unanimous decision. Oh my goodness, what an exciting weekend. So Thursday we had PFL, Friday we had bare knuckle, and Saturday we had what probably everybody was most excited about was UFC 289, Irene Aldana versus Amanda Nunes for the main event. So very exciting fights. We have so much to talk about. I'm so excited. Yeah, just amazing. As a fight fan, this is just a dream come true. So let's first let me remind you that we are partnered with Jocko Fuel. So if you check out Jocko Fuel and use my code BREEBREE, you will get 10% off. And this is their energy drink, Jocko Go. It's basically like drinking a cup of coffee. It's not overly caffeinated. It's just the perfect amount. So you're not cracked out of your mind. You're just, you feel, get a little bit of energy, get you out of bed. And it's also got some vitamins, other stuff in it that will help you focus and fight fatigue. So check it out. Again, use my code BREEBREE. They also have protein powders, pre-workouts, all kinds of stuff, supplements. So check it out if you're into that kind of stuff. So thank you for your support in advance. And let's get into the UFC. So that's the first thing I want to talk about because it just happened. It was last night. So exciting. And yeah, it's just amazing. So the first fight to open the early prelims was Belbita versus Oliveira. I was really impressed with Belbita. She ended up winning via unanimous decision. And she pretty much dominated the fight. She had great striking, and Oliveira just really couldn't seem to keep up with her. So congratulations to her. She did great. She's definitely one to watch out for in the strawweight division. I believe her record now is 14-7. So very excited to see where she goes and where she takes her career. I think she's now on a 2-fight win streak as well. So yeah, she's definitely one to watch out for in strawweight. After that was Dvorak versus Steve Erceg. So this was Steve Erceg's UFC debut. He's an Australian fighter, I believe, and he was the underdog in this fight. So I was really excited to see him win. You always want to root for the underdog. It's always fun watching an upset or watching the underdog win. And yeah, I was really impressed with him. He ended up winning via unanimous decision. After that was Nelson versus Bilder. So Nelson's another Canadian fighter. And he ended up winning via unanimous decision. So Blake Bilder, he's one that's had a lot of hype in the UFC. I think he was from Contender Series, I want to say. I think he was on Contender Series. But yeah, so great win for Nelson. And then after that was Firas Zahabi's brother. So Zahabi versus Ari Kilang. He ended up winning via first round knockout, and it was impressive. That was one of the best knockouts I've seen in a while, just because of like the hype. He's in Canada. He's from Canada. It's Faraz Sahabi's brother. I mean, it just had all the ingredients for just a great performance, and the energy was insane. I mean, the crowd was just going nuts whenever he knocked him out. So I'm very excited to see where he goes with his career. I'm trying to think. I want to say he's 10-2. He might be 10-2. I'm gonna double check just to make sure, but yeah, he's got a lot of potential. So it'll be exciting to see kind of where he goes, and I'm excited to see if they do another event in Canada in the near future, because I really enjoyed it. Yeah, he is 10-2. So we'll see. He does kind of look like Ariel Helwani. That's funny. Everybody was saying that leading up to it. They're like, this guy looks exactly like Ariel Helwani. He really kind of does. After that was Miranda Maverick versus Jazz DeVicious. And I was rooting for Miranda Maverick in this fight because she's so talented. She's got so much skill. And she's from Missouri. I'm from Missouri too. So, but she really just couldn't seem to figure out Jazz DeVicious. Jazz DeVicious, it looked like she just was the better fighter that night. She looked better on the feet. She looked better on the ground. She looked phenomenal. She pretty much dominated the fight, and she ended up winning via unanimous decision. I think a lot of that had to do with her grappling too. She had really impressive grappling, which kind of surprised me. I thought Maverick was going to have the better grappling, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully she can turn her around. We'll see, because she's got a lot of talent too. Maverick's got a lot of talent. If you've never watched Miranda Maverick fight, she's definitely one to watch for. Yeah, great fight. Imavov versus Curtis. That ended up being a no contest. Unfortunately, Curtis, there was a clash of heads, so Curtis got headbutted by Imavov, and he ended up having to get 10 stitches and might have a corneal abrasion. So that sucks. And I think that's because in the Kelvin Gastelum fight, there was a clash of heads too. And I think that's a problem with southpaws, I want to say. I can't remember. Somebody was telling me about this, why southpaws like headbutt more often. I can't remember why, but I guess has to do with their foot positioning, but yeah, that sucks. It sucks it's a no contest too, because then it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's disappointing. But it happens. This is MMA. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Then going to the main card. So the first fight on the main card was an absolute banger, which we all knew it was going to be, because it was Eric Anders versus Marc-Andre Barriault. And I knew about Anders. Obviously, I've been watching him for a long time, and I actually got to interview him on Thursday, so that was really cool. If you go on YouTube and go to Pub Sports Radio, you can find that interview there with MMA Locker Room. So thank you to MMA Locker Room and Pub Sports Radio for having me on. That was awesome. It was the first time I ever got to interview a UFC fighter, so that was really exciting. But yeah, so Eric Anders, I've always been a fan of his because he always puts on exciting fights. He's just a great, fun fighter to watch. And he might not have won the decision. So Barriault won the decision, and it was pretty obvious he won the fight. It wasn't like a robbery or anything. I mean, Anders, it was close. It was a competitive fight, but Barriault just was he edged it. He edged the decision, in my opinion. I could have argued Anders won the second round, but I think Barriault won the first and the third. The first round was close, though. The first round was a very interesting round. Anders was throwing a lot of knees and elbows and just really mixing it up with his striking. He also was very impressive on the ground, too. They both were. It was just a very impressive fight and a very technical fight, but also they both showed a lot of toughness. I mean, they were eating some clean shots, and Anders actually, I think, broke his nose in the first round. So, I mean, I can imagine fighting with a broken nose, because I've been hit with a really stiff jab before in sparring. And then it's like every time after that you get hit in the nose, it just it hurts so bad. It's like every jab after that just gets worse and worse and worse. So that you got to be tough to be able to not only survive the rest of the fight, but he put up a competitive fight. So I think, honestly, Anders' stock went up a little bit after that fight because he showed he's freaking tough. Like, he is tough. He's entertaining. He's exactly the type of fighter you want to see in the UFC. And the same could be said for Barrios. I mean, he showed that he can hang with a guy like Eric Anders. And he's a UFC vet. So Eric Anders, I think that was his 16th fight in the UFC. So he said he's going to go for 20. So I believe then that would be 4 more fights for him. So I'm excited to see what he does next. I mean, regardless of if he wins or loses, he's always fun to watch. Yeah, I knew that was going to be fight of the night. And it was fight of the night. So I called it. But yeah, that was great. Barrios has a great jab. I mean, it was just, yeah, everything about it was fantastic fight. Fantastic. And then I'm trying to remember which fight was after. I think Michael Malott was after that fight. So Michael Malott versus Adam Fugit. That was a round 2 submission for Malott. So I was really excited about this fight because I'd seen a lot of stuff about Michael Malott on social media, which he's great at promoting himself, by the way. And that's something that I think we forget to appreciate about certain fighters is like they have to do so much. You know, they have to fight, they have to cut weight, they have to promote themselves. So for a fighter to be able to be good at fighting, get wins, get impressive wins, finishes, and be professional, make weight, do all the right things, and then also be able to successfully promote themselves on social media, I think is amazing. I mean, that's exactly what you want in a fighter. And to be honest, Michael Malott looked like a future champion. I mean, just the way he carries himself, his confidence, his mindset, everything about him is just fantastic. It's just, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see when you're looking for a future star. So, I mean, like a Sean O'Malley, he probably reminds me more of like a Michael Chandler type, but Michael Chandler, look at him. He's been great since he's been in the UFC. Yeah, he hasn't won every fight, but every single fight he's been in has been extremely entertaining. So, yeah, very excited. But he reminds me of Michael Chandler just because of the way they talk. Like they're very similar in a lot of ways. And I love Michael Chandler. I mean, how can you not? But yeah, that was impressive. I couldn't believe it. He submitted him the second round. I wasn't expecting that. Adam Fugit, he's good. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know who he is, but he's good. So for Michael Malott to take 3 years off, because remember, they're in Canada. He's Canadian. So they had a lot more strict COVID restrictions than we did. And so it took a while for them to get back into putting on events there. So we finally got a UFC event in Canada for the first time in a while. And it was exciting. It was really fun. The crowd was really super energetic. And just, it was electric. It was great energy. I could feel it even like through the TV. But yeah, and also during that, not during the fight, but like, I think it was when he was walking out, the railing collapsed on the bleachers. I was like, what is going on? Like a bunch of people fell, so hopefully they're okay. But yeah, I noticed that happen. I'm like, what is going on? But anyways, so then the Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr fight. Oh my gosh, that fight, that could have been fight of the night too. That was a great competitive fight, which I expected. That fight was everything I thought it would be. Nate Landwehr, obviously super tough, super just very good fighter, but Dan Ige, we all know Dan Ige is the better fighter in that matchup. It's just, you know, it's MMA. You never know what can happen. But I knew going into it, I'm like, Dan Ige is just going to be a step ahead of him on everything. He's got great striking, and he, not only that, is extremely tough. I don't think there's any way Nate Landwehr could have finished him. Honestly, I didn't really see it happening. And going into the third round, I knew that Dan Ige was ahead on the scorecards. So I'm like, yeah, Nate Landwehr is going to have to get a finish if he wants to win this fight. And finishing Dan Ige, especially in the third round, that's tough. Like that's not an easy task. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by the result. Great fight. Nate Landwehr is awesome. I love watching that guy, and he's hilarious too. Like on the mic, he's so entertaining. I mean, I think he's great for the sport. I actually would like to see him do something maybe like bare knuckle or something like that. I think that would be cool. Can you imagine him in bare knuckle, kind of like Mike Perry type guy. I mean, I wish they were closer in size, because then I would be like, oh, let's see them fight. But I think Perry's quite a bit bigger than him. But yeah, that was fun. That was very fun. I would like to see him in bare knuckle. I think that would be cool. He's got the right attitude for it. He's a character. Nate the Train. I love it. Then the co-main event, Oliveira versus Dariush. So Charles Oliveira showed us again why he is who he is, why he was the champion, not too long ago. And yeah, Islam took his belt, but I don't know. Going into this fight, I just knew Oliveira was gonna win. I just had a feeling. I always get these like gut feelings, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't see how Beneil is going to beat him. And Beneil was saying, like, you could argue that he's the better grappler, which you could argue in pure grappling, that Beneil might have a more impressive grappling resume than Oliveira. But I think in MMA grappling, Charles Oliveira has figured out how to implement Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into MMA better than anybody else, in my opinion. I mean, he's a submission specialist. That's what he does. He finishes you. That's his specialty. But not only that, just the way that he's been able to use his grappling in MMA, because MMA and pure jiu-jitsu are two completely different things. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. There's different rules. You don't have a gi. There's time limits. There's rounds. It's not the same kind of thing. So, yeah, I think Oliveira he's better. He's a better striker, and he's better at MMA grappling. He's better at MMA grappling than Dariush, and he's a better striker. And we knew he was a better striker going into this, but we weren't sure what was going to happen on the ground. And even in the first part of the round, Dariush, seemed to be getting his way in the grappling exchange. But then when they got back on the feet, Oliveira was just stringing together combinations and dropped him, and then ground and pound, and yeah, there you go. First round TKO. So that was fun. I'm excited. That makes the rematch with Islam so much more exciting. And like, I kind of wanted to see the Volkanovski rematch versus Islam first, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'd rather see Volkanovski. He's fighting Yair Rodriguez, and then I think we need to see how that fight goes first. And that's a month from now. So yeah, I think we need to see that first before we make any decision. But even if Volkanovski wins that fight, I still want to see Oliveira versus Islam rematch. That's what I want. That is what I want. And I want to see it in Brazil. I think that would be dope. Oliveira versus Islam rematch in Brazil. Oh man. If they do it in Brazil, Oliveira will win. Guarantee you. Do you know how much people love him in Brazil? He's got such a loyal, huge fan base. He's got like almost 7 million followers on Instagram. Do you guys realize this? Charles Oliveira is a star. He may not be as much of a star in America as he is in Brazil, but he's a star. So, yeah. Very exciting. I kind of, like I said, kind of had a feeling he was going to win. I just didn't see a lot of paths to victory for Dariush in that fight. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. But I think, odds-wise, I think Islam's still a favorite against him in the rematch. I still think it's more likely that Islam will win. But like I said, if they do it in Brazil, I'm going Oliveira all the way. Okay? If they do it in Abu Dhabi, I'm going with Islam. If they do it in Brazil, I'm going with Oliveira. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? The main event, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Guys, I told you I was 70% Nunes, 30% Aldana leading up to this fight. And that's pretty much how the fight worked out. It was pretty much 90% Nunes, 10% Aldana. I mean, Aldana just didn't have anything for her. She didn't have anything for her. Nunes, I could even kind of tell in the press conference, just the confidence Nunes has going into this fight. I was like, oh, she's going to win this fight. She's like, yep, you're not taking my belt. You're not taking my belt. You can try, but you're not taking it. Yeah, she showed Aldana that there are levels to this. That is exactly what Nunes did. She proved there are levels to this. And she beat her everywhere. She beat her on the feet. She beat her on the ground, everywhere. Aldana couldn't do anything. Aldana, I will say, showed a lot of toughness. The fact that she went all 5 rounds and didn't get finished, that's an accomplishment in itself when you're facing somebody as good as Amanda Nunes. But, she just didn't look comfortable in there. She looked a little intimidated, which, I can't imagine being in the octagon with Amanda Nunes. That's got to be extremely intimidating. So, kind of the result I expected, honestly. I thought there was maybe a chance Aldana could pull it off, but, it's Amanda Nunes. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? She's the greatest female fighter of all time. And honestly, all the disrespect, I'm just tired of seeing people talk trash about women's MMA. It just drives me insane because, we're trying to grow the sport of women's MMA, and it's going to take a while. You can't expect women's MMA to be on the same level of men's MMA when it's way newer. Way newer. I don't know. People drive me nuts. But yeah, so Amanda Nunes ended up retiring after that, which I was just talking about that. So I was watching my nieces and nephews last night. And so I was at my brother and his wife's house. And when they came home, I was about to watch the co-main event. And then by the time I got to the main event, I was talking to my brother. And I'm like, I think Amanda Nunes is probably going to retire if she wins this fight. I'm like, if she loses, then I don't think she'll retire. But if she retires, I think she's going to, or if she wins, I think she's going to retire. And she ended up retiring, which is bittersweet because it's I love watching Amanda Nunes fight, and just having her in the UFC is so, just her energy is amazing. I love her so much. She's such a queen. Oh my gosh. I love Amanda Nunes. She's just one of my heroes. She really is. She's amazing. What she's done for women's MMA is incredible. Have we ever seen somebody quite like her? She's so unique. And she's good everywhere. She's got great striking. She's got great grappling. She's amazing. She's got cardio. She's got fight IQ. She's What else can you say about her? What a great career. What a great career, and just what a great legacy. And I'm going to be sad to not watch her fight anymore. I really do like watching her fight. And everybody was saying that she's not a draw and all this kind of stuff. It's oh, please. Oh my gosh. It's not her fault she's that good. Okay. But it's also MMA. You never know what can happen. Juliana Pena in their first fight submitted her. So you never know. It's MMA. But I think we all knew who was going to win this fight. I think we all knew that Amanda Nunes was going to do what Amanda Nunes does. So, sad to see her retire, but it's good because she's 35. She's probably at the end of her prime right now. And I always like to see a fighter retire on top while they're winning. I don't like to see a fighter, keep losing, and then they retire, and it's oh, man. And it's almost like a forced retirement. I think it's good that she, she's probably made a lot of money, and she's probably, wanting to focus more on family right now. She's at that age where, just focus on family, focus on things you love, focus on just being happy. So, love Amanda Nunes. She's amazing. Amazing. She will definitely be in the Hall of Fame if she isn't already. I don't know if she is or not, but if she's not, she will be. She's just what a legend. What a legend. Speaking of legends, Conor McGregor made his way into the headlines this weekend. So Conor McGregor knocked out the Miami Heat mascot. Okay. Did you hear me? I'm still trying to figure it out too, okay? I'm so confused. So it was apparently a pre-planned skit, supposedly to promote a pain relief spray. I don't know. So what happened was Conor McGregor, I didn't watch the lead up to it. I kind of want to see like the full video just to see like what happened. I just saw the clip. So Conor McGregor throws a punch and knocks out the mascot. The mascot falls backwards onto the floor like very quickly because Conor McGregor is a professional fighter. What did you think was going to happen? I don't know. Oh my gosh. Conor McGregor, what are you doing? I don't know. Maybe they planned it for him to like really throw the punch like that. Why would they do that though? Did they not think that's what's going to happen? If you're a regular person and a professional fighter punches you, you're not going to feel good. You're probably going to get knocked out. I don't care if they're 100 pounds lighter than you. They might still be able to knock you out. Oh, gosh. Just what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? So, yeah, apparently the mascot... Well, then, so Conor throws the punch, hits the mascot falls to the ground, and then Conor throws a hammer fist afterwards. And then the people on the court are pulling the mascot away, literally dragging him by his feet, which I thought was very bizarre. And Conor is spraying his face with pain relief spray. I'm confused. What is going on? What are we doing? What is that? Why did that happen? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm just very confused. Very confused. But anyways, so Thursday night, I watched PFL. And it was very, very interesting to watch. So one thing that I noticed about PFL that I really like is that they have open scoring. So you can see during the fight like the live odds, and you can see the strikes and all that stuff. And I think they even put like the score. I can't remember if they put the scores on there, but something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how they had that all set up. I'll have to look at it again, but they it was just very professionally done. It was really, I liked the production of it all, and it felt more like sports than it felt like fighting, which I kind of like. It's kind of just different. So I think it's fun. I like watching it. I'm looking forward to watching it next weekend. So let's go over the results. So first fight was Purgande versus Bashir. Purgande ended up winning via submission. Then it was Montez versus Hester. Montez ended up winning via TKO. Then Johnson versus Sanchez. So Sanchez ended up winning via split decision. And I believe that was the fight that Johnson threw an illegal knee, which was unfortunate. But Sanchez ended up still getting the decision, so it all worked out in the end. And then Kasangane versus Carone. I was really impressed with this one. So Kasangane, he ended up submitting Tim Carone. And I've seen him fight in the UFC before, so I knew who he was going into this fight. But yeah, I was really impressed. So I'm looking forward to seeing Kasangane in his next fight and just his future in PFL and in MMA. Very, very impressive performance. And then Wade versus Kudo. So Wade ended up submitting Kudo in that fight. Next fight was Flores versus Spawn. Flores ended up winning via decision. And then Marlon Moraes, who obviously is a former UFC fighter, former title contender. And he was fighting Gabriel Braga, who's a hot prospect right now. I think he's only 25, so young guy. and unfortunately knocked out Marlon Moraes, which is great for him. It was a very impressive performance, but it's always sad to see, a fighter later in their career losing and then they have to retire. Sad because he's such a legend. Marlon Moraes, such a hard worker, such a great fighter. Just incredible. He's a legend of the sport for sure. And I'm going to miss watching him fight too. I mean, I know he hasn't had his way in his last several fights, but he's still a great fighter. Still fun to watch. Sad to see him on the decline there, but what can you do? And then Silveira versus Monty. Silveira ended up getting a TKO victory in that fight. Bubba Jenkins versus Sungbin. So Bubba Jenkins ended up winning via submission, and I was really impressed with that one. It was a very quick submission, and great way for Bubba Jenkins to kind of show the world, hey, this is who I am. And I've watched him fight before a few times, actually. So I was really excited to see this, and I was really excited to see him get a quick finish. So very impressive, and definitely excited to see what's next for him. Hamlet versus Kai. Hamlet ended up winning via decision. After that was Kai Bulayev versus Diamond. And Kai Bulayev ended up winning via submission in that fight. And then the main event. This one was, oh my gosh, fireworks. Pinedo ended up knocking out Loughnane. Did anybody see that coming? I didn't. I kind of was thinking Loughnane was going to win that fight. So when he ended up getting knocked out, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Because, first of all, Loughnane was definitely the favorite in that fight. Pinedo, in order to advance to the playoffs, he had to finish him in the first round. So if he wouldn't have finished him in the first round, and he even still won the fight, he still wouldn't have moved on to the playoffs. So maybe that was his motivation to get that early finish was, hey, if I get this early finish, I will move on to the playoffs. So he pulled it off. So that's exciting. I always love to see an upset. And that was probably one of the bigger upsets I've seen in a while. So yeah, really exciting, but I really enjoyed watching PFL. Let me see when their next event is. I think it's Friday. And I think it is Maurice Green fighting. So yeah, I enjoyed watching PFL. It was kind of just more of a sports type of vibe. Like it felt like I was watching football or something. I don't know. But it was fun. I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to watching it again this coming Friday. So yeah, good stuff. And also on Friday, I watched Bare Knuckle, which was awesome. And I love watching bare knuckle because it's just so different from MMA. Like it's so fast paced and just nonstop action. And it's like, it's really hard not to watch it. Like when it's on the TV, it's like sometimes during MMA, like I can be on my phone or like doing something else and kind of watching the fight at the same time. But during bare knuckle, it's like really hard to turn away. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, let's go through the results. The first fight was Coles versus Lorero, and Coles won that fight. Gates ended up defeating Greenwood in the fight after that. Bercier versus Sears. Bercier won that fight. Meister versus McKenna. That was a victory for Meister. Ibsen defeated High Pine. Long ended up defeating Johnson. And then Christensen versus Latimer. Christensen ended up winning that fight. Depee versus Mota. Depee ended up winning that one. Wagner versus Henry. Henry ended up winning that fight. And that was probably my favorite fight of the night. It was just action-packed. I really, really enjoyed it. Davison versus Mix. Mix ended up winning that fight. That fight was really good as well. And then the main event, Stewart versus Lopez. Stewart ended up winning that fight, but it was a close fight. Like, I agree that Stewart won. Like, I definitely think he was the better boxer that night. But it was an interesting fight. It was fun. It was just fun. I love watching bare knuckle. Like, it's just fun to watch. Like, I don't know, with like MMA, I guess it's a little bit more technical. In the sense of like there's grappling, there's jiu-jitsu, there's wrestling, there's kickboxing, there's everything. But in bare knuckle, it's just so simple, and I think that's what I love about it. It's like the original fighting. Bare knuckle boxing, that's like the original form of fighting. So it's just cool. It's really cool to watch. Yeah, so fun week of fights. I mean, we had Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So yeah, it was fun. Let's look at what's coming up in the UFC, because I really want to kind of just take a look at the upcoming events and see what my thoughts are. Okay. So Saturday, June 17th. So this coming Saturday is Vettori versus Cannonier. So that is an interesting fight. That's a really interesting fight. I mean, Vettori currently is ranked number 3. Cannonier is ranked number 4. Trying to remember his last fight. Oh, Delice. Yeah. He won that fight. I don't remember how that fight went down. I just, for some reason, can't remember what happened. I don't know who I would take in this fight, because Cannonier's got a lot of power, but Vettori, I don't know. I'd probably lean towards Vettori a little bit, but it's not going to be an easy fight for him. Cannonier is terrifying. And Cannonier's coming off a win, too, off of Sean Strickland. Yeah, I'm going to go Vettori probably on that one. Unless, I don't know. Has Vettori ever been knocked out? He's never been knocked out. That's what I thought. What about Cannonier? The thing is this is a 5-round main event, and I feel like Cannonier would probably have more 5-round experience than Vettori, but I don't know. No, I think Vettori actually has been in more 5-round fights than Cannonier. Interesting. And this is actually probably a pretty even matchup. Vettori is 19-6. Cannonier is 16-6. Yeah, I mean, they've both fought a lot of the same opponents. But obviously, Cannonier has a lot more wins by knockout. So could Cannonier be the first guy to knock out Marvin Vettori? I don't know. It would be interesting. I mean, he knocked out Derek Brunson. He knocked out Jack Hermanson. Well, TKO. TKO Anderson Silva. And Vettori, I don't know if he's gotten a knockout in the UFC. I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. He has gotten submissions, so I wonder if that would be his easiest path to victory with Cannoniers. Try to submit him or just try to out-wrestle him. I think if Vettori can get into a good position on the ground with Cannonier, then I think he could submit him. That's my thoughts on it. But can you get Cannonier in a bad position? I don't know. Because Cannonier, let's see, what's his takedown defense? 64%. So it's good. It's not anything crazy, but it's good. I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting. I mean, I would think Cannonier definitely has the advantage standing up, but Marvin Vettori on the ground is definitely where he's going to be able to expose Cannonier a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Let's see. So what else is on that card? So the co-main event on that card is Joaquim Silva versus Arman Sarukian. That'll be a good fight. Arman Sarukian is an Armenian fighter. There's actually several Armenian fighters on this card, it looks like. Armin Petrosian versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Pat Sabatini. He's not Armenian. I'm just going through the fights now. Versus Lucas Almeida. Nicolas Mota versus Manuel Torres. Yeah, this will be a good card. Jimmy Flick is on the prelims. He's always fun to watch. Nicholas Dalby, he's a good fighter. He's fun to watch. He's fighting Muslim Salikov, who's a Russian fighter. Yeah, this will be a good card. I mean, it's a fight night, so it's like you're not going to expect a bunch of big names. But then we've got Emmett versus Topuria. That'll be a good one. That is June 24th. I wonder who else is on that card. Oh, Amanda Hebas is fighting Macy Barber. That's a good fight. That'll be fun. Who else is fighting? Bruno Silva versus Brendan Allen. That's an interesting fight at middleweight. Phil Rowe versus Neil Magny on the prelims. That's a good prelim fight. Phil Rowe is I've seen him gaining a lot more popularity on social media, so it'll be interesting to see how his career plays out. And then Juliet Robertson, she's a great grappler. She's always fun to watch. And she's fighting Brazilian Tabitha Ricci. That'll be a fun fight. And that's women's strawweight. And Ricci is ranked number 15 right now, so she's in the top 15. So I'm definitely going to want to pay attention to that fight and see what she's capable of. I mean, Julia Robertson, she's so good on the ground. And I saw Joe Rogan was talking about her, and she trains at this crazy gym called the Goat Shed. I guess it's this gym in Miami, and they just do all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know. But, yeah, that'll be fun. And then after that, I guess, is another fight night? I don't know. Oh, yeah. After that is Strickland versus Magomedov. That's July 1st. And then, of course, Volkanovski versus Rodriguez is International Fight Week, Saturday, July 8th. I am so excited for that. There's some good fights coming up. And then we've got Poirier versus Gaethje, the rematch, UFC 291. That'll be the end of July. So there's 2 pay-per-views in July. And then Luque versus Dos Anjos is the fight night right after that. There were some other fights, though, that I think got announced. So Sterling versus O'Malley, that's UFC 292. Obviously, that's going to be a freaking banger. But also on that card is Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos. So that's going to be for the strawweight title. And then we've got Chris Weidman is fighting Brad Tavares. That's going to be an interesting fight. So that's all we've got announced so far on that card. And then let's see there was another fight that got announced. I think it was for UFC 291. Let me see what this card's looking like. Unless maybe it was a fight that's still in the works. That could also be the case. That's going to be such a good card. Dustin Poirier versus Gaethje, main event. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira, main event, or co-main event. And then we've got Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. That's going to be a fun fight. Paulo Costa's fighting. Stephen Thompson, Michelle Pereira, Derek Lewis, Michael Chiesa, Kevin Holland, Matthew Semmelsberger. I mean, this fight is full of just monsters. This fight card. Yeah, I think Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Rob Font versus Song Yadong is apparently in the works. I don't know if it's official yet because I don't see it on the website, but that could be fight of the year. That, oh my God, that's such a good fight. Rob Font, if you don't know Rob Font, he is he's an East Coast guy. He's from Massachusetts, and he trains with Calvin Kattar, who is featherweight. And Rob Font he's got to be one of the best boxers in the UFC right now. His boxing is insane. It's insane. His last fight, he knocked out Adrian Yanez. I think it was either the first or the second round. It was quick. In that fight, a lot of people were thinking Yanez was going to beat him. And I was like, guys, it's Rob Font. What are you talking about? But, and rightfully so, because Yanez, he's been on a tear. And he's really, really talented. But Rob Font, he's got a lot of experience, and I think that's what won him that fight. But yeah, I'm really excited to see him fight Song Yadong because that is just going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger because I think it's going to be really competitive. I think their styles together are just going to be, it's going to be fun. It's going to be probably nonstop action. Like, that fight is going to definitely be fight of the night. That's my prediction. I don't know who's going to win. Probably Rob Font. If I had to pick one, I'd say Rob Font, but I don't know. Song Yadong's really good. But my prediction is that it will be fight of the night. That is my prediction. Let's see what we got coming up for... Oh, what is next in women's bantamweight? So Amanda Nunes, she now is retired. There's nobody else at featherweight, so that division, I guess, is gone now. I don't know. There's got to be a way we can get more women in featherweight in the UFC. There's got to be a way. Maybe they should make like I don't know. Maybe like a women's MMA something. I don't know. I don't even know how. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Hopefully more 145-pound women start fighting in the UFC. Because I don't want the division to just disappear, because I know the talent is out there. We haven't found it. So I don't know. Maybe they need to start looking more at like these local promotions or smaller promotions to find the talent and find them early, so then they can like build them up to go to the UFC. I don't know. So number one contender obviously is Juliana Pena. Then Raquel Pennington's number 2. Holly Holmes, number 3. Ketlin Vieira is number 4. Irene Aldana is number 5. Yana Santos is number 6. Penny Kianzad is number 7. Macy Chiasan is number 8. Carol Rosa is number 9. Okay, you get the idea. Yeah, I don't know. I would say maybe Juliana Pena fights Aldana for the vacant belt, or maybe she fights Pennington. I don't know. This is a mess. But I am kind of glad that Nunes retired, honestly. Not because I don't want to see her fight, but because I wanted her to retire on top, like Khabib did. I like to see that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe do Pennington versus Pena for the vacant title. I don't know. I think that would make sense. So then, at lightweight, what do we do with Dariush? Let's see. lightweight rankings. So Charles Oliveira is number 1. I would say he deserves the title shot next. Dustin Poirier's number 2. Justin Gaethje's number 3. So whoever wins that fight, did they fight for the belt? I don't know. Because I don't know how soon we'll be able to get Makhachev to fight Oliveira. I don't know how soon we can get that fight. Let me see when Makhachev normally fights. So it looks like he either fights in spring or fall normally. So February or October. So maybe we could do September, October, we could do Oliveira versus Islam for the belt. Maybe do that in October. That gives them 4 months. And then after that, maybe then do the winner of Dustin versus Gaethje. Maybe do the winner of that fights whoever has the belt at that point. I don't know. Because it would be a rematch. So if Charles wins the rematch, then I think they should fight the winner of Dustin versus Gaethje before they do the trilogy. That's what I think should happen. Or if Islam wins, then yeah, definitely should do that. And then maybe, I don't know. I don't know what exactly I want to see. But I know I want to see Islam and Oliveira rematch. That's what I want to see. And then Dariush could fight Fiziev. He could fight Gamrot. He could fight the loser of Gaethje versus Poirier. That would probably make the most sense. So, yeah, actually, I think I want to see Dariush versus Fiziev. That'd be interesting. Dariush versus Fiziev. What do we think of that fight? I like it. I like it because Fiziev, he's more Muay Thai and Dariush more of a grappler. So it'd be interesting. It'd be kind of a clash of styles a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens. But yeah, it definitely makes the division interesting. For sure. Well, it's going to be an exciting time for MMA because we have fights every single weekend for a while. So that's very exciting. But I am going to wrap up this episode. I really appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody watching, sharing my clips, and sharing the links and subscribing to my channel. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I really want to keep improving and keep doing this and stay consistent, dropping episodes every single week. So I appreciate your guys' support because that really helps me and motivates me to get better and better every single time. So thanks again, and I will see you next week. Bye.